Gena. I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to come in and take part of this. So, the goal of this interview is to change the narrative from previous forums, to encourage a more in depth conversation, to convey who you are. So, we created that voluntary survey that was online with great feedback, and we'll be reading some of them shortly. But first, can you tell me who Gena Kakkak is?
Okay. Um, well, Poso, thank you for having me. Um, I have grown up my entire life on the Menominee Reservation. Um, I was raised by a single mom. She raised 5 kids by herself. Um, Throughout that, we had our family, and we were instilled with some strong Menominee values. And those values are what I instill in my children. Um, I have 6 kids, 3 adults, and 3 are still in school. My youngest is 4. Um, I'm married to Louis Kakkak. Um, we both work for the Menominee Indian School District. And in my current role, I work with families, with students in grades 3 to 5, working on success plans, making sure that we have services and resources available to assist with their educational journey, where they might be struggling, focusing mainly on attendance and what impacts that, and um, reaching out to different resources to help them. I've been with the school district for about 13 years. Let's see. I've worked in various departments within the tribe, from housing to aging division to the culture museum, crime victims, family services. I started my resume back in 1995 when my first job was in the chairman's office, and I worked as a recording clerk. And then going on to school, while I was having children and going to school, I have an associate's degree from CMN, and I am currently also working on my bachelor's. So I'm hoping to be done with that by the spring of 24. And in between that, I spend as much time as I can with my family. That's my priority. So.
Thank you. Can you share some examples of your leadership experience that will benefit our community?
I think some examples are just being active, being active in a community, whether it's starting your own initiative, or sitting on a committee, or just being present and being active. I think that's the main thing with leadership.
Thank you. When you hear the word community, what does that mean to you?
I guess when I think community, I think of the Menominee people, because we're such a communal tribe. We work together. We help each other. So when I think of community, I think of our tribe.
Thank you. The drug epidemic is the biggest issue impacting our people. It has infiltrated our community and impacts us all. As a tribal legislature, how would you contribute to this battle?
I think our community is suffering from um, a lot more than just addiction. Um, the addiction and the AODA issues is forefront with a lot of people. Um, I don't I don't know anybody who has not been affected by it within even within my own family. You know, we've dealt with it, um, and I think, and I can only speak from personal opinions and my personal experience, but there's a piece that's missing, and it's that cultural connection. It's the cultural connection to what's in here in our heart, and trying to um, heal the traumas, um, and the mental health. Um, the there's a lack of services, lack of housing. Um, we have a lack of resources, economic development opportunities, and all of those link together. And I think they interconnect, and I think that's something that needs to be worked on as a whole, um, so that we can offer a better quality of life for the people, because we deserve it, you know. Um, but I within that cultural connection, I think it's also important to make sure that we have the adequate treatment programs available. And if we're not able to provide them here, and then let's partner with places that can provide them, so that we're able to get those resources to our people. Because I always think there's so much more out there for us, and we always got to remember that there's only one Menominee tribe. And so I think it's important that we focus on that healing, because there's just one of us, you know.
Thank you. Can we talk about the role that healthy habits and unhealthy habits plays within the community?
I think I think that role is connected to the traumas, um, and sometimes we deal with historical trauma that we carry with us, where we have that deep hurt, and we don't know where it comes from, you know. But it's part of our upbringings, maybe, and I think that if we can find healthy alternatives and restorative practices, you know, because there's a lot of hurt, and we need to be able to heal from that. We need to be able to restore our community. We need to bring that balance back, within our people and within our community.
So, what do you do yourself to stay healthy?
Um, that's a tough one, because I don't know where my time is. Where is it gonna fit in, you know? Um, I always try and make sure that I get some self-care time. I know it's important. Um, the stress that, and not only me, but you know, within my family, we have stressful life, but it's a healthy stress. You know, we're thankful that we're not dealing with you know, some hard issues. Um, we stay busy. Um, I think we've been sober, probably about 16 years, You know, I can't really put a date on it because it was just one day waking up thinking we don't want to do this anymore. You know, we don't want to live this way no more. And so our kids are now, where our little ones, they have no recollection of mom and dad drink beer. and that's a good feeling, you know, because I know we're changing that. We're changing that cycle, and um, we're looking for a healthier lifestyle. Um, but I know self-care is important. Um, and communication, that helps, even if it's journaling, um, or drawing or coloring, beading, sewing. You know, those are all things I like to do. And um, sometimes if I wait too long with the beading and sewing and it's week of the PO and then it gets stressful again, you know. But I said procrastination at its best. Get the job done under pressure.
Thank you. From your perspective, is our current government set up for our elected officials to be effective in their duties?
I think it is. Um, from my experience and being my first term as a seated legislator, and seeing what each individual legislator brings with them, it brings a good balance to a lot of different things that we deal with, from our natural resources to AODA, historical trauma, you know, financial stability, economic development. You know, everyone brings their gifts with them, and when we work together and when we come together, that's when we see good things happening. You know, so I think it is set up so that the betterment of the tribe is, we're always looking at the success for that, you know, and not for today and not for tomorrow, but we think of the future, and that's what's important.
If re-elected, would you be willing to make changes if needed?
I think that if reelected, um, I think that I'm open to changes when it's for the betterment and the health and the well-being of all Menominee people.
Thank you. What is your response to the community members who lost faith in our government body?
I guess my response is to be active. Be active in your community. Um, I always recommend and suggest to people to sign up for committees. That's where we need to hear from the people. You know, and if you don't want to sit on a committee, then you can still attend as a tribal member and listen. You still have a right to speak. You know, and it's important that our people make sure that their voice is validated.
How do you gain the trust back from our leaders? This is a follow-up from that for the ones that have lost
Okay.
that faith.
So I think communication is important. Reach out and talk to your leaders. Their contact information is all public in the chairman's office, and as a current seated legislator, I know we're always available to listen to the membership, to hear from them. And that's why we're there. That's it's a service to the people. We're there to service our tribe. And with that service comes countless hours of time away from our families, countless hours of meetings and reading material. And for me, I try and make myself available in all the communities. Whether it's we have the chance to sign up on during reorganization. We have the chance to sign up for what community meetings we want to attend, and I try and rotate myself so that I'm available to be able to hear from the membership in those different areas, because I think it's important. I think it's important to, if you're going to be a leader, then make sure you're there to service your people and to hear from them.
Thank you. In your own words, what is a perfect candidate for MTL?
I don't know if there is a perfect candidate, because we all have our faults. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. But I think what's important is we learn from those mistakes. I think it's important for a candidate to want to be on MTL for the betterment of all Menominee people. And I can't stress it enough that when being seated up there, it's a humbling experience. It's a great honor. But I want to make sure that I'm doing what's right for all Menominee people.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Is there anything you want to add or elaborate on from any of the questions?
I think you guys did a really good job putting the forum together the way you did. I really appreciate bringing that cultural aspect into things. And I always encourage people to be active with their tribe. Whether it's being on a committee or even attending meetings. With the virtual platform that we have now, thanks to COVID, that availability is there. And I think that's important, to get that communication and that clear communication, so you're not hearing miscommunication from other social platforms. I think that's important. But otherwise, I would like to wish the rest of the candidates the best of luck. And I look forward to the January election. So, thank you.
Step,